Hey guys, it's CJ's Coins and Crafts here. This is our next installment for the US Commemorative Series. I am getting over from a cold, so I don't have much of a voice. So my son offered to help me and record the audio for this video. Hope you guys like it. Please hit the like button and subscribe. And hit the notification bell to get notifications when I upload new videos. And enjoy this video.
The Monroe Doctrine Centennial Half Dollar had its origins stemming from two very different events with more than 100 years between them. The first part of the background for this coin is the Monroe Doctrine, which is United States foreign policy that opposed European colonialism in the Western Hemisphere. This started out in the early 1820s with the Russian Ukase of 1821, which was a Russian proclamation over territorial sovereignty over northwestern North America, Alaska, and Pacific Northwest. The U.S. considered this part of the Oregon country and hoped to gain control of it. The second part is British concerns that a Spanish restoration in Latin America would cancel Britain's ability to trade there. The British Foreign Minister George Canning proposed to America's Minister to Great Britain Richard Rush that the two nations issue a joint statement against the retaking of the former Spanish colonies. Rush asked for instructions from President James Monroe, who had taken ear with Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. Both favored the joint statement, but future President John Quincy Adams felt that the U.S. should speak for itself and not follow the lead of Britain. Rush was instructed to decline the opportunity and to enter the joint statement, but informed the British that the two nations agreed on most issues. These events led to the policy, which would be called the Monroe Doctrine, and contained in the President's message to Congress on December 2nd, 1823. Fast forward 100 years, and the Hollywood film industry is in serious trouble. The industry has been rocketed by a number of high profile scandals that led to nationwide calls for a boycott of Hollywood films. Film moguls sought means of damage control that prompted the idea for exposition and film festival to give good publicity to an industry. Given profits for making educational films, the planning of this fair was to be held in Los Angeles in the mid 1923. Began in 1922. An organizer sought an issue of commemorative coinage just like the expos had done in Chicago with the Columbian Exposition in San Francisco with the Panama Pacific event. Realizing that Congress might not pass legislation for a coin to commemorate the film industry, organizers sought a historical event with a major anniversary to occur in 1923 to be honored at the fair and on a coin. December 1922, California Congressman Walter Franklin Lineberger introduced a bill to strike a half dollar in commemoration of the centennial of the Monroe Doctrine, giving the Los Angeles Clearing House the exclusive right to purchase the prices from the government at face value. Lineberger claimed the Monroe Declaration had kept California, which was owned by Mexico, out of the hands of European powers. The bill was questioned at detail in the House of Representatives by Michigan Congressman Lewis Crampton, and in the Senate by Vermont's Frank Green, who stated, "It seems to me that the question is not one of selling a coin at a particular value or in a particular place. The question is whether the United States government is going to go on from year to year submitting its coinage to this, well, harlotry." Despite this objections, the bill was enacted on January 24th, 1923, with an authorized mintage of 300,000 pieces. The fair organizers did not wait for congressional approval to start planning the coin. The fair's director, General Frank B. Davison, came up with this concept for the designs. On December 7th, 1922, Charles Moore, chairman of the Commission of Fine Arts, wrote to James Fraser, "The Los Angeles people are planning to celebrate the Monroe Doctrine Centennial. They are going to have a 50-cent piece and have decided that on the obverse shall be the heads of President Monroe and John Quincy Adams. On the reverse will be the western continents from Hudson Bay to Cape Horn, with some dots for the West Indies and some indication of the Panama Canal. It strikes me that the designs having been settled upon, the models could be worked out quite readily, and that a pretty swell thing could be made." Fraser contacted fellow New York sculptor Chester Beach, who agreed to work on the plaster motto. On December 27th, Moore wrote on the Davison informing him of the hiring of the sculptor, and the Fraser Beach had decided to change the reverse, quoting Beach's description of the revised design. Map of the North and South America. North America is in the form of a draped figure with a laurel of peace reaching to South America. Also a draped figure carrying a horn of plenty. Their hands to touch at the Panama Canal. The West Indies are indicated. The current of the oceans are lightly shown. Between 1823 and 1923 are a skull and a quill pen, symbolizing the treaty. Moore also informed Davison that the commission had concurred in the revision, and Beach had been instructed to complete work as quickly as possible to have the coins available at an early date. On February 24th, 1923, the completed models were shown to the assistant director of the Mint, Mary Margaret O'Reilly. Who was pleased with the work. O'Reilly suggested that if Beach was certain that there would be no further changes, that he would send photographs to the commission's office to be forwarded with his endorsement to the Bureau of the Mint in Washington. These were approved by Mint Director Frank Edgar Scobie and Secretary of the Treasury Andrew Mellon on March 8th. In July 1923, Raphael Beck, who had designed the seal for the 1901 Pan America Expo, wrote to Mint Director Scobie to claim that the reverse design resembled his seal, which he had copyrighted back in 1899. The Beach should be given no further credit. The letter was forwarded to the Commission of Fine Arts for comment. In October, James Fraser wrote to Beck saying that he had suggested to Beach that he use the figures to represent the continents instead of maps, and that he had never seen the Pan American seal until Scobie forwarded the letter. Of the authorized 300 pieces, only 274,077 were actually struck at the San Francisco Mint, with the 77 pieces set aside for the 1924 assay commission. Approximately $27,500 were sold at a price of $1 by mail, through banks, and at the fair. Sales continued after the fair closed, but dropped off to almost nothing by October 1923. The rest of the coins were released in circulation, which is why most of these coins have some level of wear on them.